Hey everyone, enjoy the show.
Hey folks, how you doing today? So we have a real special treat. Mr. Ernie Harmon here has decided that he's going to sell off his collection of antique motorcycles, hot rods, vintage cars, gassers, etc. This is a real good opportunity for us as well as Ernie. He's come to a point in his life where you see this AA fuel altar behind me? He's going to take that racing at the Nostalgia Drags. That's what he wants to do later in life now. So he's enjoyed all of this equipment we're going to be selling on his behalf, and he's going to get to go racing. I asked him, how many times are you going to race? He says he wants to go twice a week, travel the country, run his AA fuel altered, and can you believe it? This guy actually still puts this pedal to metal when the light turns green. I am in awe of that. I asked him, hey Ernie, what's it like to do that? He told me, man, when the light goes green, you just smash that, and it's the most exhilarating thing that you could ever do, and I believe him. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to go piece by piece, and I'm going to show you exactly what we have to offer. He's getting rid of everything except the car, basically, and he has a beautiful collection. Ernie bought his first car when he was 16 years old, 55 Chevrolet, took it to the track, got into racing, got into antique motorcycles, which you're going to be really amazed at the collection of antique motorcycle parts as well as motorcycles we're going to be offering here. We're going to sell this, pretty much we're going to try to sell this in like 3 different parts. We would like to sell it all to one guy naturally, but I don't know that the car guys are going to want all the motorcycles and vice versa. So we're going to go through each and every piece. We're looking for people to come in and buy a bunch of stuff. Whatever you do, don't call me and say, I saw this part, can I just buy that part or that? We're not going to do that. You got to come in and kind of clean us out of a category. And remember this, if you're buyers, we're sellers. We're motivated, not giving it away, but we're fair men. So this is going to be a good show today, probably one of the best we've ever produced. And stay tuned. Me and Ernie are going to go around now and start hitting it piece by piece and tell you what we got for sale. Thanks so much. Okay, folks, here we go. This is item number 1. What we have here is a 1941 Willys Coupe. This is clearly a gasser car. Ernie built this thing, man, from head to toe. He tells me, now all of these automobiles that we're going to be offering to you, this ran recently. This car will run. It's not broke. There's nothing wrong with it. You're going to give it the normal been sitting deal. We've drained the gasoline out of it and everything, so everything's nice and clean. 1941 Willys Coupe gasser. As you see, this is actually a fiberglass front end, but we will show you in the still shots that we have the original steel front end in stock, which is great. So this is an all steel 1941's Willys gasser with a 392 blown Hemi in it. Ernie tells me that this car runs in the 9 seconds at about 150 miles an hour in the quarter mile. What a ride. I can't imagine doing that. Passion the gas down to the bottom in this old Willys. Jeff, come around. Let's show them the motor. Once again, this is a 392 blown Hemi. It's ready to go. You're ready to go racing. It's got a tilt front on it, as well as it's got some nice original Hillebrand wheels sitting down here underneath it with some vintage nice slicks on it. Isn't that cool? That is just, I mean, tell me that ain't nice. Show them this, Jeff, as well as we're going to include another set of wheels and tires for the Willie, which these are centerline wheels, nice set of slicks. They go with it. Once again, it's got the bitchin' Hillebrand wheels. Blowing 392 Hemi, all steel car. Okay, let's give them a little. This is an automatic car, 2-speed automatic, and clearly it's going to have the rear end to support everything in it. Come on around, Jeff. Show them inside this. 2-speed automatic, roll cage, big-ass rear end. This is a real romper stomper. And as you know, the gasser cars have really come into their own lately. There's some hot rod shops around our store, and they're building gassers left and right. People really like this style of an automobile. So, you know, if you want an original 1941 all-steel Willys gasser with a parachute on it, this one's ready to go. As you see, fuel tank in the trunk. You got your fuel pump back here. Very nice steel automobile. Once again, these are going to be available for viewing. We don't expect nobody just to buy it on the phone. We want you to come out, take a look at the car, get a good feel for it. And once again, if you want to buy it all, we want to sell it all. But if you just want this one, we'll get you on a trailer and get you out of here, pay the money, and we're done. Anyway, thank you so much. Okay, folks, for our second item, what we have here is a AA fuel-altered dragster. I don't know if it's a dragster, but it's a AA fuel-altered. This car is running a 426 blown Hemi in it. This was a Purelex, I believe, frame, and it was built about 20 years ago. Ernie ran it about 8 years ago and then parked it, drained the fuel, etc. Ran great when it was finished. This is a 6-second. This is a 6-second car. It runs right at and over 200 miles an hour in a quarter mile. As you see, this is what you would consider a nostalgic dragster these days. It's got a 426 blown Hemi in it. The thing is ready to go. If you want to go fast-ass racing, this is where you start and finish. Ernie's had pulled out the extra parts for it. We got extra brand new clutches. These are some nice parts. Here is a full set plus brand new rods and pistons. Here we have a brand new set of heads for it. And here's sleeves, a brand new set of sleeves. So all of these parts go with this AA fuel altered and will be included in the sale. This is a super cool car, even if you don't drive it or start it up, to have it in your garage. A lot of you cats got these bad garages. I always personally love these cars. I wish I had room for it because I'd probably try to twist Ernie's arm to get it for myself. The Bandito, it's clearly a fiberglass body on it. The thing is ready to go. A 426 blown Hemi in it, goes 200 miles an hour in 9 seconds. Ernie's kept the car up very nicely, as you can well imagine. It is ready to go. It's ready to go racing, or just put it in your garage and enjoy the beauty of the artwork of this car. Anyway, this is the next piece we did, and this is ready to go. Scatter shield, 2-speed transmissions, got the big rear end, thing hauls ass, and it's ready to rock and roll. So get a hold of us, come look at it, and let's get it sold to you. Thank you so much. All right, folks, moving right along. As you see, I'm up in the mezzanine here. This is a 1951 Sprint Champ car. It's a sprint car and a Champ car are a bit different, as Ernie tells me, that the Champ car is just a little bit bigger car. 1951. This is one that you could get running. It's got a 351 Hemi with 4 2-barrels on it, okay? So it is a Chrysler Hemi motor. Now, Ernie looked into the motor, and it needs a set of push rods and a set of lifters. Other than that, it's complete. But you're going to have to do a little work on this one, but it's certainly going to be worth it. This is a 1951, so this is a nice early sprint car. It's in good condition. Get this down, hose it off. I think it's going to liven right up. It's ready to go. Little motor work, and you're going to have 1951 Chrysler Champ sprint car. We'll get you some stills on this here car, and you'll be able to see it in the still pictures. So we'll get Jeff up here and do the piece. Okay, here we go. Another offering. This is a 1974 Edmunds sprint car. This car actually has license plates, so this has got a pink slip, and somehow they got a license plate for this car. 1974 Edmunds. The serial number on the chassis is 007. This car's running a 350 Chevrolet in it with a carbureted top end on it. This is clearly a stick shift car, 1974 Edmunds, serial number 007. Small block Chevrolet sprint car. Ernie did drive this one in the last few years, drained the fuel. So this is a take it home, give it a tune up, and take it for a ride. Super nice car. These are really classic, cool cars, right? I wish I could take this for a spin. So this one's ready to go too. As you see, we're up here in the mezzanine. We'll get a forklift, get it down, get it on a trailer. Super cool car. We're going to go ahead and do the still shots for you now. So another nice sprint car. Okay, folks, our next offer is a 1977 Indy car, and Ernie had purchased this car and did drive it a little bit, but he sold the chassis and he kept the motor. They wanted to build their own motor for it. So what we have here is a Drake Hillborn fuel-injected engine. This motor runs. It's been fully rebuilt. This motor is ready to go. 750 horsepower, fuel-injected, Indy motor. You know this is a bad son of a gun. Can you run this in a regular car, Ernie? Yeah, he says you can put this in a regular car. So if you've got a great chassis and you want a 750 horsepower Indy motor, fresh. Now this motor is fresh and ready to go. As you see, he has it on a chassis here, which he ran it on. So if you come out and you want to buy it, we could probably get it fired up. It's fresh, put some gas in it, run it for you. This is a real barn burner right here. Can you imagine having this in one of your hot rods? This is a killer 750 horsepower fuel injected Indy motor, ready to go. Anyway, this is going to be great for somebody. Keep watching. Okay, folks, moving right along. Now we're moving on to a 1965 Dodge Dart Gasser. This is a super nice car, folks. I mean, once again, as I had mentioned in the other video, these Gassers are really coming into their own these days. People are building them because they just have this great nostalgic 1965 Dodge Dart with a 392 Hillborn fuel-injected Hemi in it. Ernie raced this car a few years ago. When he brought it back, ran great. He took the fuel and everything out of it. So just like a car's been sitting, you will take it and you will get it tuned up and it's ready to go racing. The other nice interesting thing about this car is Ernie did a really good job. He shortened the wheelbases. As you know, back in the 60s, the racers were doing everything they could to get an edge on the other racers. So this is a shortened wheelbase car. He did a lot of work. You see where the front wheel here is kind of pushed forward? It actually should be centered in the fender well. So he pushed that up to transfer the weight from the Hemi to the rear end. As well as what he did was he brought the rear tire up about a foot. It should be sitting somewhere around this position. So this car has completely been shortened so that this thing will launch big time. The other thing he did, which I thought was kind of cool, we talked about it before we started the video, he put 426 Hemi on it. It's actually that because he didn't want him to feel bad when he beat him with his 392 Hemi. He wanted him to think they had a 426 in it so that he didn't make those fellas feel bad. As you see, it's a pretty bright red. This is a automatic car, correct, Ernie? 3-speed, 400, turbo 400? Turbo 400. Clearly, it's got the rear end to match. This is a 9-second car at about 140, give or take, on your driving in the quarter mile. Just a super nice car, folks. I mean, as you see, if you want a nice Gasser, a nice Dodge Dart, this is the one for you. Full roll cage. It's ready to go nostalgic race and take it down to Irwell, take it wherever you want, or just put it in your garage and merely stare at it. Okay, we're going to go on to the next unit. Okay, folks, here we go. Moving on to another product. This was Ernie's first car. He bought this when he was 16 years old. And how many of us actually get to keep our first car? Well, Ernie did. As well as you can imagine, when he bought it, it didn't look like this. It was a 1955 210 Post. It wasn't a race car. But as he got into racing, as you can see by the equipment he has, he did a really nice job on this. This, like the Dodge, he also shortened the wheelbase. He brought the front wheels up, and he brought the rear wheels up. Obviously, as you can see, this has a slider front end. This is a fiberglass front end. The rest of the car is steel. As you know, if you're an old racer, you wanted to put a fiberglass front end on your car. If you want to convert it to a steel when they're not hard to find, I suggest you don't do that. Slides forward. Now, the really killer piece about this is that Ernie made it a mid-engine car. The engine is actually sitting right here instead of right here. He moved back the steering column. He moved back the pedals. This is a 4-speed car, okay? So this one is a gear shifter. Naturally, it has the rear end to support it. This is also a 9-second car at like 140 miles an hour as well. Hillborn fuel injected. Wait till you see what's in here. Come on around, Jeff, for a second. Let me just show them inside this car. This is super trick what Ernie has done in here. I mean, come on. Wait till you see this. Look at this. He made it a mid-engine car. And so this is a Hillborn fuel injected small block Chevrolet. I can't even imagine sitting in this car when it's running and listening to this motor roar. What a super nice custom car. This thing has just got to be a real gas to drive. I can't even begin to tell you how much work Ernie put into this car, building it, moving the chassis around, putting the motor in mid-engine, bringing all of the steering column and all of the brakes and pedals and gas pedal forward. It's got some nice seats. Once again, this is a 9-second, 140-mile-an-hour gasser. Ernie's owned it since he was a little child. He's had it since the late 60s, early 70s. No, earlier than that. He was 16 when he got it, and he's 20 now, so he was 4. Anyway, it's got some nice Simplex here, some glass here, Plex here. No, that's glass. Glass here. Hildebrandt wheels and tires. Got the cheater slicks on it. 4-speed car. Just absolutely looks good, is good. Gassers, once again, are hot these days, and we'll get this on a trailer and get it out to you. Thanks. Okay, folks, as I had mentioned, Ernie has been buying and collecting car and motorcycle parts forever. So this is in one of his warehouses. This is some of the parts that are available. We want the whole thing to go. This basically is all sprint car stuff right here. Down here, these are B&M automatic transmissions. So these are the good stuff, B&Ms, right? Here is not sprint car, but what are they, Ernie? Sprint car as well. This is all sprint car stuff as well. Up here, what carbs? These are 97 carburetors. If you go over to this side, you see we got some rear end housings. We got some straight axles for your gasser cars, some rear end housings. This here is a transmission, is that correct? Okay, this is a rear end out of the sprint car. It's a Hemi. I don't know that it's made for a Hemi, but the name of it's Hemi. Moving right along, we got some small blocks down here. This is more sprint car stuff. Here's a bunch of nice tubing. Here's some drop or spindles. Let's move on down. Here, down here, we got a flathead Ford. Is that Ford, Ernie? Flathead Ford. We got a block over here. Not sure exactly what it is. Up here's a whole bunch of more parts. Here's some linkage for inside the vehicle. There's, believe it, man, in these boxes, there's just a ton of good stuff. You're going to be welcome to come out and inspect. We have over here, we have a Packard engine. So you Packard boys, but you got to take it all. Don't come try to get the Packard motor. Okay, moving right along here. As you see, there's just a ton of good parts. Nice set of slicks. There's a brake, a small brake. We usually don't sell tools. Here's some disc brake front ends. Here's some rear end housings. And we have a Hudson motor here. Okay, as you see to Jeff's left, we have a whole bunch of header tubing, which Ernie had purchased and had an abundance of it, and this is what's left over, all brand new header tubing. There's just, I can't, you know, when you get here, you're going to get a look in here, and there's probably going to be some really cool, surprising parts in here. But we want it all to go at once, so let's get on out, let's go through it, but don't try to buy one part. Anything you see here today, please don't call me and say, hey, can I buy that one part up there? We're not doing that, man. You got to come out with some money and take a bunch of it, right? We don't want to play with part here and part there. So don't call us for that. Come on out, look at the big loads. We want to, if you're a buyer, we're a seller. Let's move on to the next product. Okay, folks, moving along with the car parts, what we have here is a couple of nice complete frames. This is a 46 Dodge, and that's a 19, did I got that right, Ernie? Tell me. 1926 Dodge here on the right, and a 1941 Willys there on the left. We're doing a lot of talking today, but we will get it straight. So these are a couple of nice complete frames. They're ready for sandblasting, powder coating, and put your ride on it. Some nice frames ready to go. Okay, folks, moving on with the car parts. I'm staying out of the video this time for room constraints. What you're looking at up there is all magnesium wheels. As you can well imagine, over 50 years, Ernie has went to thousands of swap meets, and every time he saw a good part, he grabbed it. We can't tell you exactly what these wheels fit, but they're the good ones. You know what you're looking at. When you come down and buy them all, you'll be able to check the wheel patterns. Moving right along, down here what we have is aluminum sprint car wheels. So there's 5 aluminum sprint car wheels. So those are pretty cool. Got some cheater slicks on some of them. Nice wheels, aluminum, polished. Here we have 3 bucket seats out of hot rods. These are aluminum, so they're ready to strap in your race car or just hang them from the ceiling. Really cool stuff. Up top left here, we got some more magnesium wheels. Those appear to have a nice bolt pattern, which will probably go on several different cars. Down here on the bottom, these are actually sprint car disc brake hubs, which still need to be machined, and as I understand it, could still be used. You just got to machine them. Down here on the bottom, what we have is a whole bunch of spoke wheels. So for you guys that are looking for the original spoke wheels, here you go. Here's a whole rack of them, which Ernie took him only 40 or 50 years to collect. Up here, we got a set of wire. What are those for, Ernie? Good question. Ernie don't know, which makes it all sound about right to me. Nice set of wire wheels. We're moving along here to more magnesium. The majority of these are Hillebrand wheels. Now, we all know if you look at them, man, they're getting big money for one wheel. It looks like there's probably be some decent to come down, take a hard look at them Hillebrand wheels. Moving right along, what we have up here is we have a set of magnesium American mags, okay? A nice set of American magnesium mag wheels. Over here to the right, we have a few more magnesium Hillebrand wheels. Now, don't call me and say they ain't Hillebrand, whatever they are, there are. I'm not just guessing, but I'm getting as close as I possibly can. Anyway, here's some really nice wheels and tires that, you know, we're trying to break this up into segments. We're trying to show you the car parts, trying to show you the cars, so it's easy for you to see. On to the next piece. Folks, moving along with the car stuff, when I first seen this motor, I thought, man, that's one unusual motorcycle motor. Then as I got to talking to Ernie here, he said, no, that's a car motor. A car motor? He came out of a cycle car, he says. He's, in his 50 years, never seen one like it. It's deluxe. It says deluxe. Clearly a two-lunger. It's got the carburetor. So this would sit perpendicular, or if that's correct, parallel with the passengers. It would go in line, front and back. This was to cool the car. I'm like, well, what's with the propeller? He says, well, that was a fan to cool the motor. He has never seen one. I don't know if you could find one, and I'm sure probably somebody's seen him. He hasn't seen him, and I certainly haven't seen him. So it's a deluxe engine. Now, he says that this thing will run. If you got the wherewithal, you know, you're probably going to shoot some starting fluid in it, maybe rebuild the carburetor, get the magneto on it, fire it up, and he says this will run. It's in beautiful shape, as you can see. Domestic or foreign? Domestic. Yeah, it's from the U.S. of A. Yeah, well, that was a good question. Anyway, this is super cool, man. If you just want to sit this on your workbench, man, you got a hot rod shop and just set it around. It's just an absolute gorgeous piece of art. On to the next item. Okay, folks, what we're going to do now is we're going to move on because I can't separate everything that is on the ceiling here. We're not taking it down. Ernie and I sat, as you can well imagine, him and I spent quite a bit of time sorting this stuff out. Him and I figured that on this ceiling right here is about 80% motorcycle parts and about 20% car parts. So whoever comes to buy all the motorcycle parts is going to get to take everything off the lid here that pertains to motorcycles. Everybody who buys the car parts is going to get to take down everything which pertains to cars. I just seen, because I've been doing a little homework on this stuff, and I just seen one little carburetor on eBay, which was for an early Indian or Harley Davidson. I was looking at it, boom, sold $1,300 for one small carburetor.
Plus tax.
Plus tax. Yeah, tax on eBay now, folks. So you see there's just a whole bunch of good stuff up here, and I was like really impressed. Once again, it took Ernie 50 years. He's been going to swap meets to try to buy this stuff and pick just so much stuff. As you see, I came and did my notes, a couple of days of notes here, so I could try to articulate this for you. Let's go on down here, Jeff. Show them all of this on the lid. Then we're going to come down and show you that Ernie also has some really nice early motorcycle seats, which, as you know, are not that easy to get anymore. All parts, 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 parts. More parts. Here, these are basically early vintage motorcycle seats. Those down there are bicycle. The rest of this stuff, as I understand it, is all motorcycle. This is a really nice collection of seats. You know, I don't know how often you get to buy this much good stuff, but, you know, it's here, and the time it took just to pick this stuff is, although he did enjoy it, there's no question about it, but he spent an awful lot of time walking them swap meet aisles. Anyway, motorcycle car parts. Okay, folks, when I came into this container, I thought, wow, what a gold mine. I've always loved antique motorcycles. I could never afford to dabble in them. You know that 1910, 1911 Harley Davidson Excelsior Indian motorcycles. Well, once again, Ernie has stomped those swap meets for 50 years, and this is the parts he has accumulated. As you can see behind me here, what we have is a nice variation of all antique motorcycle wheels. Here's a truing machine. I came in here and spent the whole day, me and Jaime, just trying to get this kind of sorted out for you guys so I could show it to you, right? So we kind of put everything with everything that we thought would go with each other. All motorcycle wheels, they go all the way back around here. Here we got nice motorcycle tires. We come up here, I couldn't go through all of these boxes. There was just so much stuff, and I don't need to tell you guys, it's the little pieces when you're building a nice antique motorcycle that really counts. You know, like these are the original foot rests, right? There's a stack of those. These are all parts. Here we got what it looks like. I think this is carburetor manifold stuff. We got some cylinders here. These are all chains. Coming up here, these are all vintage handlebars for antique motorcycles. We got some back, you know what they are. Here is clutches. This is actually, these are rear brake hubs. Down here we got some Springer front ends, which are really super cool. Okay, this looks like some Springer front end parts. Okay, stuff like that. Over here we got some muffler stuff. Just tons of nice small parts, which is, you know, things that you are so difficult to find. Moving along here, we got some more brake parts. Over here we got some fenders, okay, front and rear fenders, etc. Here's a bunch more really cool parts. These are all internal, I believe, motor parts, although you guys are the experts, so please don't call me and say, oh, you said the wrong thing. Here, now Ernie had a bin over here, which we'll see in a minute. I brought all of the bins out so you could take a look in these. These are all of those really cool motorcycle parts, which he did sort and put them all in bins. Okay, super, super nice carburetor parts. Carburetor parts, right? Valves for the engine. Hell, I don't know, but it looks rare to me. Up here we got some seats. Moving along down here, here's some nice gas tanks and some oil, blah, blah, blah tanks, more tanks. Down here we got some nice rear hubs or front hubs, I don't know which. Here's some cranks. Here's a whole bunch of pistons and rods down here. These are all rods, pistons, okay. Just a super bunch of just super nice parts, right? Look at this. This, I guess that's for a dual cam. Oh, that's a set of rods for a dual head motor. Moving along here, this we're not sure about. We think that this is probably off a compressor or something. This is probably the only part in here that's not motorcycle, but it looks like motorcycle, but what a cool engine, right? Carbureted. I believe it was for a compressor because it's got the compressor pulley. Now here we get into the crankcases. Look at all of these crankcases. I was watching a few of these on eBay. There's very few on there. Sell them for big money. Super nice crankcases. A lot of Harley Davidson. Harley, Excelsior, Harley. Mostly Harley Davidson here. Probably a couple Indians in there. One of the other things I was really excited about, I being in the antique slot machine thing, I have bins and bins and bins like this of all those little specialty parts, which makes my job so much easier to be able to pull a nice original part out. And here's some handle grips. Look at all that stuff. We'll show them to you in the stills. Here's two more bins right down here, just full of that hard to find stuff, okay? Moving along down here, here's your crankshafts, okay, that go into the old motorcycles. All cylinder heads, all gears, okay? Down here, these are for the magneto, if I don't misunderstand myself. These are magneto covers, more pistons, more rods, okay? This stack here is all magneto stuff, as well as a vintage antique magneto tester. More magneto parts down here. What are these, Ernie? What do you think that is? Magneto. That's why it's over here with the magneto stuff. See, it took me a long time to sort this. There is, I don't know, it's got to be 2,000 or 3,000 parts in here if you're catching the small stuff, maybe even more. But this is going to be all that really hard to find stuff, right? Whoop. Nice, whatever it is. Anyway, I don't know where you would find this many antique motorcycle parts at one time that you could just buy. It probably took him, once again, 50 years, piece by piece, to collect these. Okay, now we're going to get onto the motorcycles. Okay, folks, continuing with the motorcycle parts, I think this is absolutely one of the highlights of the motorcycle parts. These are all engines. What we have here is Harley Davidson, Excelsior, and Indian, and we have one motorcycle wheel. This is one that the motor was attached to the wheel. But now these, we kind of separated these. We took them out of the container and tried to get these all together so you could see them. These are all full case engines with the top ends. As you can see, some of them have the magneto on them, the cover, but these are all very heavy and they're full of everything that goes in them to the best of our knowledge. We didn't knock them down, but you can weigh them and tell them that they are full. This is a great array. Where are you going to find? There's like 15 engines here. Where are you going to find this? Just check this out. And you'll be getting the still pictures so that you can see what they are. All the way around here, all the way around here. Look up here. Look how nice. Whoops, I dropped my thing. 1915. This one's 1913. Look at these. These are just works of art. These are really cool. I would assume that whoever buys these are going to try to build the majority of them out. You probably got frames. You probably got the rest of the bikes. You'll get these running. What a great assortment of antique motorcycle engines. And they're going to be somebody's. Hopefully it'll be yours. Okay, folks, one more thing we have in the motorcycle parts is we got the boot sidecar. It's an antique motorcycle sidecar. Looks to me like the The core of it is there. Looks to me like it's ready for restoration. Nice antique motorcycle sidecar. Goes with the parts. Okay, folks, what we are is this is one of the highlights of Ernie's collection. This is a 1912 Indian factory racer. So just like in the car thing, you know, you had the cars that you sold to the general public, and then you had your race cars, which you took to the track to prove to everybody how fast your equipment was. 1912 factory racer. This is a short wheelbase bike, and this is what Ernie explained to me is an open carb bike. It doesn't have a throttle here. You actually open the carburetor here, and you either had it wide open or you didn't. They'd get this started, give you a push, you'd hang on and hit this, right? Ernie was telling me that a lot of times they used to race these on horse racing tracks. He said that sometimes as they're riding on the horse racing track that they'd blow up horse crap and it would get stuck on some of the parts of it on the kill switch or something, so you had to try to hit the carb or you had to pull the kill switch. It was a very interesting ride. Ernie restored this motorcycle. He personally rode it 100 miles an hour. Can you imagine being on this little bicycle right here going 100 miles an hour? That's crazy, right? This apparently is an extremely rare motorcycle, and for you guys out there who know them, you'll understand that. 1912 Indian factory racer, 100-mile-an-hour motorcycle. What a great piece. Somebody's going to just love this. All right, folks, moving on to the really nice motorcycle collection. As you see, I got my clipboard because there's a lot to say about this motorcycle. This is a 1915 Harley-Davidson sport coupled racing frame. So it's a bit of a shorter frame. It's a racing frame. Now, it has a Pope top end on it. So it's a racing top end on the 2 cylinders, which as we know today, you buy a nice hot rod motor, then you go buy these special heads to make the thing even go faster. So it's got a Pope top end on it. It's got a factory-wide tank. Around 2005, Ernie took this motorcycle up to the Virginia City, Nevada area on a 2-day ride. He rode this motorcycle for 2 days in one of those rallies for Harley-Davidson motorcycles. So he's like, okay, how fast will this thing go? So he had a friend of his take a car and clocking on one of them desolate straight roads. 110 miles an hour. This thing went 110 miles an hour. I can't imagine sitting on this at 110 miles an hour. This is a super nice bike. Once again, it's ready to go. All you got to do is he drained the fluids. All this stuff he prepared properly to put it in storage. So this motorcycle will run. I'd like to see somebody else ride it at 110 miles an hour. That Ernie, he's a speed freak. So 1915 Harley-Davidson, short coupled racing frame, Pope top end, factory-wide tank. And there's another tank. You see it right here? Ernie built that tank to run. So this tank comes with it, and it has special mounts that go on here. So when he took it up to Nevada, he put that tank on it to run alcohol in it. How cool is that, right? Is that where you got the 110 miles an hour out of the alcohol? He got the 110 out of the alcohol and the Pope top end. What a beautiful piece. This is a fabulous motorcycle, and it's going to look fabulous in your garage or house. Okay, folks, next in our lineup, this is a 1917 Harley-Davidson motorcycle, all original, and back in the day, somewhere along the line, somebody put a 1915 transmission in it. This is a beautiful, all original motorcycle. This thing runs. You just got to take it home, do the normal thing after they've been sitting a while. However, Ernie did take the fluids out, which would, not make it good to get it running. As well, it's got a nice original sidecar on it. Super nice 1917 Harley-Davidson twin-cylinder sidecar. Just an absolutely beautiful motorcycle. And this is ready to go to your house to either view or ride. Okay, folks, next in our lineup is a 1917 Indian motorcycle. As you can see, this is just a great candidate for restoration. The motor is free. We're pretty confident that this motorcycle is 90% here. As you see, Ernie has collected all of the parts that go with the motorcycle over the years here. This is just a great candidate for restoration. We even got some new tires over there on the left that go to the motorcycle. Lots of great parts. This is a great core. The frame is here, the motor's here, the wheels are here, the tank is here, the transmission is here. What a great project bike. If I knew that much about motorcycles, I'd like to buy this and do it myself, because I think we could probably do a pretty good job at the shop. Not as good as Ernie, but a pretty good job. 1917 Indian motorcycle ready for restoration. So another nice piece here, folks. This is a 1969 Jawa Speedway racing motorcycle. Ernie actually purchased this in '69, and he raced it till 1974. This will run, no problem. Just put some gas, put some oil, get it running. 1969 Jawa Speedway racer. Ernie rode it from '69 till 1974. Tell me this is not a talented racing guy. Come on. He's got motorcycles. He's got AA fuel altereds. I mean, it's crazy. He's got gassers, right? This was a real motorcycle car gearhead. Loved the smell of smoking rubber. Really nice Jawa here, and that goes with the motorcycles. Okay, ending our motorcycle extravaganza here. Last but not least, or least but least, we got a little wizard motorcycle here, which is going to go with the bunch. Not a great big deal, but hell, a motorcycle's a motorcycle. Little wizard motorcycle. So what we have here is a 1913 Excelsior motorcycles. So Ernie tells me the story that the fella who owned that was out in the desert in California, and he was racing it through the desert and got caught up in a dry creek bed, went down hard. They had to haul him off and they left the motorcycle. So this motorcycle got buried, because back then they weren't worth much. So he left it. It got buried in the sand and the water ran over it for years, etc. And he went back about 20 years later and found his motorcycle and dug it up. And he sold it to a guy, and then Ernie was able to purchase it from that guy. So just like old antique bottles, you ever hear of a dug bottle? That means it was dug up from the dirt. This is a dug motorcycle. Got dug up out of the creek bed. I don't know, there's either some good parts to restore, or hell, just hang it up like Ernie did. It's damn cool. Okay, folks, so moving right along, we had a little laugh. What we have here is a couple of really nice pieces of motorcycle memorabilia advertising. This is actually a hand-painted of the Excelsior factory back in 1912, okay? That's a hand-painted Excelsior factory. This is a 1912 Harley-Davidson pennant flag. Both 1912, both great pieces of motorcycle memorabilia. I mean, I'd like to have these, but I'd like to have everything. Great pieces, those go with the motorcycles. Okay, folks, a little bit out of our wheelhouse, but hell, Ernie just couldn't resist. What we have here is 11 antique bicycles. I am not a bicycle aficionado, but I know that a lot of you guys out there are. These look like the good ones, the straight bars. They got the downswept handlebars. I think a lot of them have wood rims. Some really nice early motorcycle stuff. There is 11 of them, which we'd like to sell. You know, you can walk a lot of swap meets before you can get 11 bicycles. 7? Oh, 12. 12 bicycles. Jaime corrected me. Thank you, Jaime. So there's a dozen, baker's dozen antique bicycles. These are going to really, really be cool when somebody gets them all restored, or hang them like Ernie did. So this is a little out of the wheelhouse, but Ernie buying really cool stuff over the years. Here's a nice antique airplane engine. It boils down to just a really cool piece of art. You see why he bought it. He put it on his mezzanine. Looks cool, is cool. That goes with one of the loads. Heavy, but cool. You'll need a mezzanine or something to put it on. Great piece. Okay, folks, last but not least, Ernie being a car guy and a motorcycle guy, hey man, he still liked like antique farm equipment and antique steam engines. As you see here, this stuff is probably from the late early 1900s. It's all cast iron, super good yard art. So we want to sell all this stuff in a package. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 huge pieces of equipment. So we want somebody to take it all. So come on down, bring your flatbeds, bring your forklifts. We'll get this stuff loaded up. So in summary, folks, I would really like to thank Ernie for having us out and giving us an opportunity to help him market his beautiful collection. I mean, he really worked hard over the 50 years, and you know, it was a privilege for me. I got to spend 3 or 4 days with him because I came down here and I sorted all this stuff out so that it could be properly videoed. As you can imagine, when Ernie brought it in, you know, he put this over here and that there, and you know how your place looks. So I came in and tried to get it all worked out so that we had a nice flow on this. It's been a pleasure working with Ernie. He's a fabulous guy. I think that when you do come to view the product, you'll get to meet him. He's a hell of a nice guy. I want to thank you, Ernie, so much for letting us in here and market your stuff. And the other thing is, in summary, I want to say, please do not call us saying, I just seen a little part of this, that. We want to bulk sell. And we're not trying to be obtuse or anything. It's just that we want you to come and wipe a whole bunch of this out at one time. So whoever does come and buy this, remember, if you're a buyer, we're a seller, we're fair if you're fair. And we'll make some of this stuff move and make the next owners of it be very happy. And it's going to be a pleasure now to see who gets this stuff, and we're all going to enjoy it. And most important is Ernie is going to go racing. He's going to take this thing and go racing. That's what he wants to do. And it's not about the money. He just would like to clean this part of his life up so that he can get his hot rod, get his truck, get his camper, go across the country, go racing. And I told him, I want to come and see you. I would love to go to a race with Ernie and enjoy his company and watch him go 200 miles an hour, pedal to the metal in this hot rod behind us. Anyway, thank you for watching our videos as always, and we'd like you to, if you follow us, hit us on Instagram, YouTube, etc. Man, put the follow button. Watch what we do. It's really exciting and fun. As you see, we came up with a beautiful collection, and there's something happens with us every day. Man, we're buying and selling. This is really a lot of fun, and this pick or this sale has really been enjoyable for us. Thank you so much for watching.
These are Mantiques. Antique, Mantique. These guys sell Mantiques. This is their store.
We're picking, we're bringing stuff every day, in and out, in and out, in and out. We're shaking and baking.
These are their customers.
Give me the rundown on the GMC.
This lived in a bar in Ghent in Belgium.
Follow Jim and Jeff from 9 to 5 or after hours as they buy, sell, and restore the coolest stuff for the coolest collectors worldwide.